So I'm making this video for Ryan Wilgus, my dentist, who also wants to learn how to make really good sourdough bread. So I have all my equipment. Hopefully this is going to work because I can't really see it now. But the first thing we're going to do, I should have done this morning, but as long as you do it probably before noon, we're good. So this is my starter. I keep it in the refrigerator and I feed it the day before I'm going to bake. And I usually bake once a week. So I want to do, and I use a scale, and I want to use 100 grams of flour. This is really, really good flour. It's King Arthur patented something or another. So I get it in 50-pound bags. Let's see. First thing I need to do is measure the cup. This is going to be interesting for me to do this with telling somebody what I'm doing. So I'm going to put 100 grams of flour. That's 78. That's 84. I just keep doing it until I get to 100. Almost there. Okay. There we are, we're at 100. So I'm going to throw that in this cup. And now I'm going to go get 100 grams of water from my refrigerator where it is filtered. That's 152 grams, so I've got more than I need. And I'm going to throw the rest into a cup. So I have it. If I put too much, so there's 90. 94. 97. 99. It's a game with me. 100. Okay, now that goes in there. This is my favorite little spatula. I love it. I use it all the time, just mostly for baking bread. So I'm just going to mix this up really, really good. I don't know what the texture would be considered. Maybe paste? I don't know. I just know it's equal weight of flour and water is important. So all right. Now I'm going to put that into my starter. Try and get all of it, but I don't always get all of it. And mix it up really good in there. So you can see this starter is, I think I started it in July of 2020 in the middle of the beginning of the pandemic, and you couldn't get flour and you couldn't get yeast, and I thought, well, I'm going to try sourdough. I did not realize that everybody was going to get into a sourdough craze, but I guess I caught the bug and didn't even know it. So I put this lid on, but I don't put it on real tight, and I just set it over on my counter over here. There's a light above, and it's just going to sit there until tonight. So, and what's going to happen between then and tonight is it's going to double in size. Now I'm going to get all the other ingredients ready because I know me, and what happens with me is that I will get sleepy tonight and I won't want to measure out all these ingredients. So I'm going to do it ahead of time. So my recipe takes 345 grams of water. Now, I just zeroed this out so I can do that. And I know it goes right up to right about here, but I never get it exact. So right, usually right about here. I've made a lot of loaves. Okay. That's 336. Remember the water I had left over earlier? I'm going to do this until I get to 345. There's 345. Yay, I got it fast. Okay, so that's going to be ready tonight. Now I need to zero this out. 520 grams of this really good flour. That's 547, so that's 525. That's 521. Like I said, it's a game. That's 520. Now the only other thing we add to this is 2 teaspoons of salt, and I use pink salt. I don't know why, I've heard it's better, so I use pink salt. Okay, now I am ready. I just kind of stick all this aside. I've got my flour measured out. I've got my water measured out. It's going to be in this yellow bowl. I put this over the top of it when it's proofing. This is another piece of, it's so clear I had to put nail polish on it because I kept losing it in my drawer. So I put love, and before I could find this one, I had to order another one. So I have a love and a joy. But these are you'll see later why this is a really good piece of equipment. So I'm gonna turn this off now because there's nothing left for me to do until late tonight when I put it all together. So we're back. It's a little after 8. So I was doing this morning at around 10. So we're looking at about, I don't know, 10 hours. And here's see how beautiful? Can you see the bubbles and how much it grew? So it's well fed. That's the starter. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna measure out 150 grams. So I have my bowl. I'm going to zero it out. I'm going to stir down the starter. You can see it's nice. Can you see how the texture of it is really good? It's kind of like stringy. It all kind of sticks together. That's 138. I use 150, so I'll play with it until I get 150. Okay, pretty much 150. So what I do then is I just scrape down the sides of this, and if it gets too gunky, I'll end up putting it in a fresh jar. But right now this is just fine. I'm going to put it back in the refrigerator in a moment. Right now I'll just set it aside, and it'll be there till the next time. Okay, now I'm going to add this water. Remember, it was 345 grams of water. And I just mix it until the starter and the water are all one. Doesn't take long. So the starter's all dissolved in the water now. And now we take our 520 grams of flour and stir it in. Remember, it has the 2 teaspoons of salt. Well, when I was learning how to make this, I went to the University of YouTube. I'm amazed at how much you can learn on YouTube. And I looked at a lot of different ways to do the bread. I ended up with, I have one hockey puck to my credit because I tried to do it in a crock pot and that was not a good way to do it. But one thing I learned is to work with water. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna put water in here so I can get my hands. So this allows the stuff to not stick to me. So I just dip that in the water and scrape this off with my little scraper. So I'm done with it now. Won't be using it again until the next time I make bread. But I'm gonna put this in the water, and remember I said this is a great tool because we're gonna scrape the side of this and just fold it in. This is the most work you're gonna do with this is just this little bit, which really isn't very much, as you can see. I just keep turning it until kind of got it all collected. It's what you would call raggedy. I'm getting my hands wet, and then I'm just going to pick it up and play with it a little bit, put it down, and then we're going to cover it up and let it rest for 20 minutes. And I'm going to turn this off and I'll be back in 20 minutes. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. I don't know if you can see that it's starting to smooth out a little bit. And I've got this, just getting it wet. And I'm turning the bowl once, twice, just folding it in. And that's about it. Then I'm getting my hand wet. Can't see that I'm doing that. I'm not, okay. Getting my hand wet. And I'm picking it up. And I'm just working it a little bit because I want to make sure I don't feel any lumpies of dry flour in there. That's all the work we're going to do. And we're going to go another 15 minutes. I'm going to do the same thing. And then it's going to sit overnight. So I'll see you in 15. I'm back, and I got sidetracked by a TV show, so it's been about probably 25 minutes instead of just, it might even have been 30, but it doesn't matter. You're going to see the difference in this. I'm just going to do it one more time. I'm going to turn it in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get my hands wet. Pick it up. Just give it a little roll like this. It's quite a different texture. Can you see the different texture? It's nice, like a little baby's bottom. Okay, so it's just, that's it. Overnight. I'm going to put it over there under the light, but I'll turn the light off at night. So in the morning, I'll show you what we do next. It's very simple. Okay, next morning, it's about 7:30. Daylight savings time has me so messed up. I'm usually awake way before then, but logically it shouldn't be this way because we gained an hour, but I'm sleeping later, so it makes no sense to me. Anyway, you can see how nice and big it's gotten. This morning's step is get out some parchment paper. I use a little coconut oil or any kind of spray just to keep it from sticking. Here's our water and our great tool. So I'm gonna push this over here. So you just go around the edges to loosen it up from the bowl. Okay, get my hands wet again. And then I scoop it up and I let it hang. I don't know if you can see it's hanging. See, it's very long, nice and long. And then I just wrap it around my hand like this and reshape it just a little bit. That was the stretch. I just needed one big long stretch. Put it back, no, put it over here. And now put it back. So now it's ready for its last little rise. It'll probably take a couple of hours. I'll check on it in about 2 hours. With the winter coming on, maybe it's not rising as quickly, but usually 2 hours is enough. Then we'll set the oven and we'll put it in the oven. We're at my stove right now. I have this ready to score at the top, just a sharp knife. See how nice it is right now? So I'm just going to cut across the center. There's all kinds of fancy instruments, but I just use a sharp knife and it works just fine. And there's my dog barking. I have already had the oven heating to 500 degrees with my pot in it. I'll show you. I've got to pull it out. Shh, shh, shh. You like the sound effects? Okay, someone must be walking across the street at the park. So this is hot right now, so I'm going to be very careful as I pick this up, put it in here, put the cover back on, and keep the paper inside, otherwise the paper kind of gets all disintegrated. And then I put it back in, and I'm going to set this for 25 minutes. I'll be back in 25 minutes. So I have now pulled it just down to, I'm going to put it down to 450, and I took the lid off. That's all that's happening in the oven. I took the lid off. It's up here. And then I'm going to reset. I'm not on my little stand anymore, so I'm going to reset that for 12 minutes at 450. Okay, we are ready to remove our loaf of bread from the oven. The light's kind of funny. I don't know if you can see how pretty this is. I'm just going to lift it out, put it over here to cool. And then I just stick this back in the oven so that it can cool off with the oven. Turn the oven off too. So that's it. That's it. That's our loaf of bread. Look how beautiful. Can you see how pretty it is? Mostly just waiting for timers and things.